What if a single conversation could literally challenge the very foundation of the cosmos? Well, today, we're diving into the Great Compassion Sutra to look at the Buddha's final night on Earth. And believe me, it's not just a story about an ending. It's about a profound lesson given to a god who was convinced he had created everything. So our story kicks off in the city of Kushinagar. The Buddha is lying between two solitaries, and he turns to his most loyal attendant, Ananda, to make an announcement that's about to shake the entire world. And just like that, the final lesson begins. There's no big sermon, no dramatic speech, just the simple, unshakable truth of impermanence. The Buddha just states it plainly. His time has come, his work is complete, and he's ready for that final release. Ananda's reaction is just so deeply human, isn't it? He's not just losing his teacher. For him, it feels like the whole world is losing its light, its guide, its very source of vision. His words just perfectly capture that deep fear of abandonment we all have when a truly great presence leaves us. But the Buddha immediately reframes the whole situation. He doesn't focus on the tragedy of loss. Instead, he points to a natural law of existence. Everything that is born must eventually pass away. And then he turns the focus back to Ananda's own life, praising his selfless service and reminding him of the incredible merit he's built up. It's this powerful shift from mourning an end to celebrating a life of purpose. So as the Buddha gets ready for his final rest, this event does not go unnoticed. Not at all. The entire fabric of the universe starts to respond, almost like the cosmos itself is holding its breath. Imagine that for a second. The very veins of the earth, all the great rivers and streams, just suddenly stop moving. The flow of life itself just comes to a complete halt, all out of respect for this one moment. And then, all the lights in the sky, the sun, the moon, every last star, they're all extinguished. The world is plunged into this deep, profound darkness, which really mirrors what Ananda was saying about the spiritual eye of the world being extinguished. And this effect is truly universal. Even down in the deepest hells, the fires of torment cool down. For a brief moment, every single being in every single realm, even those suffering the most, gets to experience a moment of peace and relief. This really shows you the sheer scale of what's happening. The very foundations of our world, the tallest mountains, the deepest oceans, they all shake and tremble. The departure of this one single being is powerful enough to move the unmovable. Now, this huge cosmic disturbance is felt all the way up in the highest heavens, where a very powerful deity named Brahma lives. And, well, Brahma has a very, very particular view of himself and his place in the universe.
See, Brahma is absolutely convinced that he is the creator, the ultimate source of everything. So when he sees his own celestial palace, what he considers the pinnacle of his creation, suddenly lose all its divine light, he is deeply, deeply disturbed. This is an event that is completely beyond his control and way beyond his understanding.
This one question just consumes him. Who could possibly have this kind of power? Who could silence the entire universe? This mystery drives him from his throne, down through all the realms, all the way to those solitaries in Kushinagar, because he has to find the answer. So when Brahma arrives, he finds the Buddha just lying there, peacefully. He presents himself with all his divine authority, but instead of being met with awe, he's met with a series of simple, disarmingly direct questions that are about to systematically tear down everything he believes to be true. What happens next is just a masterclass in seeing reality for what it is. The Buddha doesn't lecture, he doesn't command, he simply asks Brahma to take a really close look at the world he claims to have made. The Buddha starts with the most fundamental, inescapable parts of life. He's asking, you, the great creator, did you design a world with all this built-in pain? And for the first time, maybe in eons, the great Brahma has to admit there's a limit to his power. He has to say that no, he did not create the suffering. The questions just keep coming, moving from the physical reality of decay to all the social and emotional pains that define so much of our lives. He's asking about injustice, about grief, about anxiety. He's asking, are these part of your grand design too? And again, Brahma is forced to say no. He is not the author of poverty or of heartbreak or of fear. And you can just feel his grand claim to creation just crumbling with every single question.
So, with Brahma's ego completely dismantled, the Buddha reveals the true architect of reality. And it's not a being, it's not a god on a throne. It is karma, this impersonal, universal law of cause and effect. The reality we live in is shaped by our own actions, not by some divine creator.
The Buddha then explains how this law works through a process called dependent origination. It's basically a chain reaction. Our ignorance of reality leads to certain actions, and those actions propel our consciousness into a new birth, which of course inevitably leads to aging, death, and all the suffering in between. It's a cycle that just keeps going, powered by our own actions, not by a God's will. So after delivering this ultimate philosophical truth, the Buddha's final moments aren't spent in some abstract thought. No, instead, he turns to demonstrate the real heart of his teaching, which is this boundless, unconditional compassion. And here, you just see the incredible breadth of his care. He offers a prophecy to Shangju, a disciple who, get this, is the son of his greatest adversary, Mara, and foretells he'll become an enlightened being. He then foresees that Mara himself, after celebrating what he thinks is the Dharma's end, will eventually remember the Buddha's words and find his own path to salvation. He even advises warring gods to use his name not for victory in battle, but as a way to find peace. He's caring for everyone. And then, in a final, absolutely brilliant twist, the Buddha turns to the now humbled god Brahma. The very same being who arrived claiming to be the creator is now given the ultimate responsibility to protect the teaching, to make sure this flame of truth doesn't go out. The student becomes the guardian. So, in the end, the Buddha's death wasn't really an extinguishment at all. It was a transfer of light. He passed the torch. And that leaves us with this profound question that just kind of hangs in the air long after all those cosmic tremors have settled. In a world without a Buddha, who is responsible for keeping that flame alive?